Tonight, we look at a story filled with high-stakes claims and deep uncertainty. Following recent US military strikes on Iran, a major question has emerged about the country's nuclear material. President Donald Trump has made his position very clear. Speaking from The Hague, he stated that he does not believe Iran had enough time to move its enriched uranium from the Fordow nuclear facility. He argued that the US attack was executed with incredible speed and precision. The president suggested that the very nature of the material makes it extremely difficult and dangerous to transport on short notice. President Trump elaborated on his reasoning in his public statements. He said, "I believe they didn't have a chance to get anything out because they acted fast." His comments paint a picture of an operation so swift that Iranian officials were caught completely off guard. He also added another layer to his argument, suggesting that if Iranian personnel knew an attack was imminent, they would not have been working in the underground facility to begin with. This logic supports his conclusion that the uranium was still at the site when the bombs fell, leading to its destruction. The president's claims about the success of the mission were definitive. He used strong language to describe the outcome, stating that the strikes had completely and fully obliterated Iran's most important nuclear sites. This narrative suggests a total victory, one where a significant threat has been neutralized entirely. According to this view, the enriched uranium is no longer a concern because it was buried under the rubble of the Fordow facility. The administration's message is one of resounding success, aimed at reassuring the public and allies that the danger has passed. However, this confident assertion is now at the center of an international debate. The core of the issue revolves around roughly 400 kilograms of uranium that had been enriched to 60% purity. This is a substantial amount of material, enough to potentially produce about 9 nuclear weapons if it were enriched further to the required 90% level. Iran insists it successfully moved this stockpile to safety before the attack. This directly contradicts the president's statements, creating a troubling mystery. The world is left to wonder. Was the uranium destroyed as the president claims, or is it hidden somewhere, unaccounted for? The American military operation was extensive and targeted 3 of the most critical sites in Iran's nuclear program. The attacks took place between June 21 and 22, 2025, just days after an initial Israeli strike had already escalated tensions in the region. The Fordow fuel enrichment plant, a facility built deep inside a mountain for protection, was a primary target. US B-2 bombers dropped between 12 and 14 GBU-57 bunker buster bombs on the site. These powerful munitions are specifically designed to penetrate and destroy deeply buried structures, leaving little to chance. Satellite imagery taken after the strikes shows the immense power that was unleashed on Fordow. The images reveal at least 6 large craters directly above the underground enrichment hall. Analysts looking at this evidence have suggested that the total destruction of the underground hall is quite possible. The goal was clearly not just to damage the facility but to annihilate it, making it unusable for the foreseeable future. The sheer number of bunker busters used indicates a determined effort to ensure that nothing within the mountain facility could survive the assault, including the centrifuges and any nuclear material stored there. The Natanz nuclear facility, another key part of Iran's program, was also hit. It was struck with 2 GBU-57 bombs, which created new craters over its own underground halls. This American strike followed an earlier Israeli attack on June 13th that had already damaged the above-ground electrical systems at the site. The combined attacks aimed to cripple Natanz's ability to enrich uranium. The strategy appears to have been a 1-2 punch, first disrupting its power and support systems and then delivering a devastating blow to its core underground operations, ensuring it could not be easily repaired. A third major target was the uranium conversion facility in Isfahan. This site was hit with over a dozen Tomahawk cruise missiles. Satellite photos from after the attack show widespread destruction, with at least 18 structures completely destroyed. Critically, images also show that tunnel entrances, where uranium was likely stored, had collapsed. The strikes on Isfahan were designed to disrupt the very beginning of the fuel cycle, preventing Iran from converting raw uranium into the gas needed for enrichment. Together, the attacks on Fordow, Natanz and Isfahan represented a comprehensive attempt to dismantle Iran's entire nuclear infrastructure. The narrative presented by the White House is being challenged by compelling yet inconclusive evidence. Satellite images captured by Maxar Technologies just 2 days before the US strikes on Fordow show significant activity. The photos clearly depict a convoy of 16 large cargo trucks parked on an access road leading directly to the mountain facility. However, in images taken the day after the bombing, those trucks were gone. This has led many experts to believe that a major operation to move materials out of Fordow was underway right before the attack. This evidence suggests that Iran may have had a window of opportunity to act. The conflict did not begin with the American strikes on June 21st. An earlier Israeli strike on Natanz on June 13th served as a powerful warning that a broader military action could be coming. This gave Iran more than a week to prepare and potentially relocate its most valuable assets, including the 400-kilogram stockpile of highly enriched uranium. The idea that Iran was caught by surprise seems less likely when you consider this timeline of events, which provided a clear signal of impending danger. In the aftermath of the strikes, Iranian officials have been quick to downplay the damage and project an image of defiance. Ali Shamkhani, an advisor to the supreme leader, posted on the social media platform X that enriched materials, indigenous knowledge, political will remain. This statement is a direct assertion that the core components of their nuclear program survived the attack. Similarly, Iran's nuclear chief, Mohammad Eslami, vowed that the program would be restored. These are not the statements of a country whose program has been completely and fully obliterated, as President Trump claimed. Meanwhile, even within the US government, there seems to be some uncertainty. Vice President J.D. Vance speculated that the uranium was likely buried in the rubble at Fordow. However, Secretary of State Marco Rubio suggested he doubted it was moved and believed it was probably buried at the Isfahan site instead. These conflicting statements from top officials do not project the same level of certainty as the president. They hint at a far more complex and murky intelligence picture, one where American officials may not be entirely sure what happened to the uranium stockpile. The international community is now grappling with the fallout from these events, both literally and figuratively. The International Atomic Energy Agency, the world's nuclear watchdog, finds itself in a difficult position. The Director General of the IEA, Rafael Mariano Grossi, has stated that without on-site inspections, no one can truly know the extent of the damage or the current status of Iran's uranium stockpiles. He confirmed a direct kinetic impact at Fordow and expects very significant damage, but emphasized that physical verification is the only way to get real answers. This uncertainty is the central problem. Experts in nuclear non-proliferation are sounding the alarm. David Albright, a former weapons inspector, believes it is likely that some of the uranium were taken away by Iran, and we don't know where they are. This scenario is deeply concerning because if Iran has successfully hidden 400 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium, it retains the most critical ingredient for a nuclear weapon. Kelsey Davenport of the Arms Control Association warns that this risk is even greater if Iran also managed to move its advanced centrifuges to secret, undeclared locations. The location of this uranium is critically important for global nuclear safety and security. If the material was destroyed in the strikes, it may pose a localized environmental hazard, but the proliferation risk is gone. However, if Iran has hidden it, the world faces a new and more dangerous reality. The material would be outside the view of IAEA inspectors, making it impossible to monitor. This creates a breakout scenario where Iran could, in theory, enrich the material to weapons-grade level at a hidden facility, potentially without the world knowing until it is too late. In the end, no one can say for sure what happened to Iran's enriched uranium. The US administration claims it was destroyed, but satellite imagery and expert analysis suggest it may have been moved. Iran claims it is safe, but provides no proof. The IEA cannot verify anything without access. This leaves us in a state of profound uncertainty. The military strikes may have set back Iran's nuclear program, but they have also potentially created a more dangerous and unpredictable situation. The mystery of the missing uranium now hangs over all future efforts to prevent nuclear proliferation in the region.